Hey, beautiful souls. Oh, welcome back to the Divine Channel, the space where we call in, tune in, and awaken the wisdom within. I'm your host, Shannon Marie, and I'm so grateful that you are here with me today. Today's episode is a real special one because we're diving into a question I know so many women quietly hold in their hearts. It's that feeling of something shifting, that sense that you're entering a new season of life and knowing deep down that you're meant for more, but quietly holding and not knowing what more looks like. And before we dive in, I want to share this with you. If you've ever felt called to ask a question of Dear Divine Channel, or you would love to be featured as a guest on my show, I would absolutely love to connect with you. You can simply DM me over on Instagram at The Divine Channel and let me know you're interested in either being a guest, and I will send you a guest form to complete so we can feature you and your question on an upcoming episode. Now, in today's episode of Dear Divine Channel, we are doing something so super powerful. We're blending intuitive guidance with life coaching. And the woman who wrote in today's question is actually joining us live. Together, we're going to explore what it means to trust your voice, listen to your inner wisdom, and allow clarity to emerge through aligned action rather than waiting to have it all figured out. If you have been feeling called towards a new chapter, a career shift, or deeper expression of who you truly are, this conversation is for you. So let's take a breath, settle in, and tune in together. In today's episode of Dear Divine Channel, we have a beautiful question that was submitted. And what makes today extra special is the woman who wrote in is actually joining us live today. I am so excited for this intuitive and coaching session because we get to do both today. And I believe that this is a beautiful blend of intuition and real-time coaching, which gets to be very, very powerful and shift things very quickly. So today's question is, Dear Divine Channel, I feel a shift happening in my life, like I'm entering into the second half of my life and stepping into my true authentic self. I'm ready for a career shift, but I'm unclear about what direction or path to take. Is there guidance that you have for me on this new career path that I should pursue? So, Jen, thank you so much for being here today and for trusting yourself enough not only to ask this question, but to step into live today with us. So, welcome, welcome. How are you today, Jen?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Shannon, for having me. I'm so excited to be here and be
You
part
are
of this.
so welcome. So, before we dive into your actual question, I want to name something important that you said in your question. When someone says, I feel a shift happening, that's not confusion. That's awareness. And often this is an awakening or a next level to our awakening. So this usually means that your soul is already in moving motion, even if your mind hasn't caught up yet. So congratulations. I love that space. It's always so fun. And this is typically where my clients find me. So the very first thing that's really coming through for me around you, Jen, is the voice and the throat chakra area. Spirit is really highlighting communication, expression, and being able to articulate what's true for you and eventually helping others do the same. How does that feel for you so
I
far?
love that. That so resonates. And I have been feeling that more and more, even the last 2 weeks of being more open to sharing just my authentic thoughts and feelings on some of my socials and not worrying that it's not perfect and just wanting to share the messages that are on my heart. So that so resonates with me.
Ooh, I love that. Congratulations on starting that journey. So I feel like this doesn't necessarily mean like public speaking or like speaking louder into the world, but it actually feels so much deeper than that. It's about helping people name what they feel and claim what they want, helping them to recognize that they're actually ready instead of staying stuck, silent, or unconsciously moving through life on autopilot. It's the kind of work that brings people back into awareness with themselves and back into living consciously rather than just going through the motions of life because that's what they've always done or what was expected from them. And I know that you've been drawn to accountability work, which is absolutely cool because it fits in so well here, but it doesn't feel like traditional accountability, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
This feels like accountability rooted in self-expression, self-ownership, and self-consciousness, helping
Mm.
people become aware of their truth and their true, authentic self again. How does that feel?
Really hits home because it's something that I feel I have been searching for a really long time and wanting to tap into. I know it's there, but with life's, your different roles and responsibilities, it kind of gets to the wayside. And now I finally feel like I'm starting to have time to be that person that I know that I am. So it really resonates with me.
I love that. So it feels for me like soul's purpose for you is really around supporting people to come back to their truth, coming back to their voice, and coming back to the part of themselves that actually knows who they are and what they want, but they haven't been able to express it. How does that feel for you?
Yes, I very much resonate with that. And I feel like I know a lot of people who could tap into that or use that support in some, at least, or many areas or some areas of their life.
Whew, so powerful.
Yes.
So when you wrote in, Jen, you shared with me your human design and information to tap into your soul's purpose. And I want to take a moment just to dive in to this with you before we do some live coaching. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
So, some key energetic themes to reflect back to you when you gave me kind of your information is when we're looking at your soul's purpose, you are a six in energy, which means heart, service, harmony, and guiding others home to themselves. Super
Mm,
interesting, right?
yeah.
And you are a 14-5 energy as well, which means that it's all about freedom, expression, movement, change, and communication.
Mm. Yes,
The
those are all
year,
things that I yearn for. So
yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, well, and then we're talking about the throat chakra, and we've been
Uh,
talking about movement and, kind of change. It's all wrapped up in there. The cool part is that the year that you were born actually symbolizes old soul wisdom, which I know
mm.
you personally, and I know that you definitely incorporate that. And leadership through lived experiences.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Human, your human design is a manifester, which means that you are here to initiate things, to be a catalyst, and to give permission. It says permission giver, actually. And I love that because, like, when you think about this ideal person that you're here to help and mentor, that's really what they need. They need somebody to remind them, be the catalyst, kind of activate them, and then give them permission, right?
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
So to kind of recap what this soul's purpose is in mind from kind of your birth chart, here's what I want you to know is your soul isn't here to follow a path, it's here to initiate one. So manifestor energy is all about starting movements and not fitting into systems. So we have to be really careful when we're looking at manifestors about like you have to fit into a certain niche or a certain box. It's going to feel really restrictive. And most manifestors are super creatives, which means that they are multi-passionate. They have multiple things that they want to do and push out into the world when you're
That.
feeling stuck It usually is because you're trying to wait for clarity instead of declaring what you want and creating it. So that's going to be really key when you kind of like get into that spot of like, okay, I'm feeling stuck. What do I need to do? You need to create, and creation is going to lead to clarity for you. So overall, your reminder here is that your clarity is going to come after your action, not before. So waiting until you're ready won't initiate that change. It's the movement through the action that's going to create that clarity for you every single time. How does that feel for you?
Very much resonates with me. And talking about be feeling stuck and like in a box and restricted, I have felt that way for a really long time, especially in my career. I've always used the analogy of like I'm a square trying to fit, or I'm a circle trying to fit into a square peg, right?
Ooh, yeah.
And the my create I've been just yearning for creativity. So that is like just screaming out loud since you're saying that. And I also really appreciate action with I will get clarity after I take the action because I'm such a planner and I think everything has to be perfect before I can start. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to let go of that and just make little baby steps, even if they're not perfect, and see where it leads me. And I have felt so much more empowered because of that.
Ooh, I love that. It's so powerful. It's a beautiful reminder for all of us. Like I can definitely get into that. You're speaking to my heart when you're saying, you kind of want everything in order. I'm the exact same way. And I have found this for myself as well. Is like when I get into action, and what I always say is like when I'm in service. So when I'm in service, then that's when the clarity, the wisdom, and that momentum really is able to like pick up for me. So whether if that's
Love
like
that.
doing sessions, doing, I do like soul activations that are kind of fun, or workshops. Like I just recently hosted the workshop Make It Manifest, and being of service in those spaces allows me to personally get in action. The other thing that I know about you is you are multi-passionate, and some of that energy is really creative. So where sometimes we think like, hey, we just have to focus on this, just allow yourself to come back to your intuition and ask like, actually, what do I need? Like, do I need to be creative, and does that look like in my business, or does that look like with something else that I can be creative in to put myself in motion?
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, I love that for you too. So all right, are you ready to do some live coaching around your question?
I am.
Perfect. So this is designed really just to help you. I love the wisdom and guidance that comes intuitively, but it's just opportunity for you to really walk yourself through some of this so you can really anchor into your own personal truth. And I'm just going to be here to really help guide you through that. So, the one thing that I always remind people of is that your gifts are already being used somewhere in your life, right? So,
Mhm.
maybe you don't know yet or know how to fully express them, but you are using them. So, I'm curious in your current career path, because I know you shared with us that you're currently in a career and you're kind of wanting to change, what parts of that do you see yourself sharing with others in a space of like coaching, mentoring, or being in a supportive role?
Well, and it might seem kind of silly, but it's something I feel like I'm really supportive of my coworker. I feel like I'm here as a sounding board and somebody to help her when she is, frustrated with how things are going or just needing that extra support. I also feel like I'm really good at supporting people through like creating relationships to build good relationships through the work that I'm doing with different teams.
Beautiful. Those are all great things that you can bring to the coaching and mentoring space. So I love that. My next question is another powerful place that I like to look at is what do people naturally come to you for guidance or wisdom on? That could be friends, family, coworkers, or even strangers. This often shows us how we are already showing up before we have to put a label on it.
Mm. I'm a really good planner and organizer. Something I plan whether it's holiday events for our family, whether it's vacations. One of my daughters is in hockey and I do tons of planning and coordinating of things. So I feel like that's something that is and I like to do it. It's something that comes naturally to me, but I also like to do it because I feel like that I'm helping others or serving others in some way.
I love that. The word connector comes up for me as you were talking, Jen. So do you do connection work with connecting other people,
Yeah.
working with
I
raffle?
feel,
Like it
yes,
just feels
like
like there's this big role that you do so naturally with connecting people.
yeah, I definitely have to do that with my job. I have to connect different teams with people to get things done. But I also feel from like a personal perspective, like if I know somebody who, say, is looking for a job and maybe I know somebody who's a recruiter, I want to make sure to connect them and or just have them have a conversation and yeah, and like kind of seeing what the bigger outcome is and how I can like connect it together to ensure that it gets completed, if that makes sense.
Ooh, I love that. Yeah, for sure. So as you've been, this is a final question here, question three. So as you've been moving through this awakening process for yourself and reinvention of yourself, what parts of your journey feel like something that you want to teach, guide, feel passionate about, or want to walk others through? Not because you have it all figured out, but because you've lived it and you are just a few steps ahead of them.
I would love to help others if they have felt like they have always been the support of everybody else around them and they're trying to go back to their trying to find their own true north, help them do that by tapping into what's important to them, who they are, helping them with just personal well-being and development tools and being there to be their support system.
I love that. So, what I'm hearing is that you like being a sounding board, you love being supportive to others, you like helping people plan, organization, being a connector, and helping people come back home to themselves, their true north, what's true and authentic, what's most important, development, and just overall supporting with kind of taking steps forward. How is that feeling for you? Is that accurate?
Yes, absolutely 100%.
Beautiful. So, see where we're going here? We're kind of uncovering the parts of you that you are already doing and sharing your gifts and
Mhm.
helping you kind of tap that in and tie it into what your soul's purpose is. So, I just want to pause here for a second before we move on because there is something coming up for you around fear. Are you okay if we dive into this a little bit to be able to create a powerful shift for you here with this today?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, fear is really presenting for you, and I want to normalize this because fear doesn't mean to stop, but it just means that you are bumping up against a threshold. You're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, right? That ceiling that some people talk about. And I know that you're currently working a job, and often that comes for my clients with fear around income, stability, how we might make that shift, and how it would affect our family and lifestyle. So I want to do something a little different here with you if you're up for it.
Yeah, sure.
If we completely set aside the fear around money and the 9 to 5 for a second, because I genuinely believe that there is so much opportunity and abundance in the online and coaching space. What if I kind of want to get and tap into what the real fear is underneath what's stopping you from taking the next step? So, like, if we
Mm.
put that aside, what comes up for you? So, like, is it the fear of being seen, of trusting yourself, of disappointing yourself or others, fear about growing who you've been?
I would say it's fear of what others will think of me,
Oh,
and then a fear of failure.
okay.
Having the experience of leaving, stability and then things not working out is very deeply rooted in
Mm,
the fear of changing what is. If that makes sense.
yeah. So before we got on this call, I shared a couple of things that kind of came through from spirit. Do you mind if I share one that is kind of standing out?
Yes, please go ahead.
So, one of the things that Spirit really said was not only that you've been chosen to do this work, but that when you bless others, you will be blessed. So, I'm
Mm.
curious, on a scale of 1 to 100, how much do you feel like you are being called to do this work in this season of your life?
Been felt called to do it for as long as I can remember, but have pushed it away and down and like, how's it going to work? And I'm not good enough and for a long, long time. But deep down, if I'm being honest and truthful, I've felt it for as long as I can remember.
Oh, yeah. So, like 100%, like you kind of
100,
feel it in
oh,
your bones, in
yes,
your body. Yeah.
yes,
That's what I was feeling
yes.
for you too. Yeah. So, one of my favorite channel messages that came through during a client session was our desires are God's promises to us. So, if you believe in the universe and you just believe in spirit, whatever that looks like, you can kind of change that out for your belief. So, this was so powerful for me. And of course, this was a channeled message for a client, but so if we are desiring to do the work and we know, like we know, like we know, is what I like to say when it's at like 100% in your bones, in your body, it's at 100%. How does shifting, knowing that it's already been promised or written to us, how does that look for you? And like, how does that change the fear for you?
Well, something that you've taught me in our previous time together is if it's on your heart, it's there for a reason.
Yes.
So trusting that it is there for a reason and it hasn't gone away and that I feel it so strongly in my bones that, and even if it doesn't play out or work out how I think it should or would, it will work out in some way, even maybe better than I realize or know of.
Yeah. Something that came through for a client just this week, and I wasn't gonna share this, but it just kind of keeps coming around, is that Spirit said in our session together, the only difference, so she had started her business, paused her business, 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 and now is back doing her business. And we were talking about kind of where other people are. She had went to a conference and she's like, now I see this person doing this and this person's making this and this person's hosting this and I want to be doing all those things. And Spirit said the only difference between you and her is they kept going.
Hmm. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And
And so if we
just
know
even
that it's
starting in the
written,
first place, right?
yes. Yeah, if we know that it's written, that it's already been promised to us, and we can feel it in our body 100%, that knowing like you know, like you know, like you know, as long as we keep going and putting the one thing in front of the other, right, we're gonna get there. And it's kind of like Spirit in this part of businesses, I kind of call it the messy middle where it's like we see what we want, but we're not there quite yet. And Spirit always reminds me of pregnancy in this, where it's like, you're pregnant, you got the test, and it's like, yay, I'm pregnant. But you don't see any evidence yet. It's like your stomach hasn't changed. And then you
Yeah.
start to like see a little change and you're like, oh, yay, something's happening. But could I just
Yeah.
be bloated? Did I eat too much pizza? Right? Like we start going through those things of like questioning. Are we sure? Like, what am I doing? What did I get myself into? And then we wait 9 whole months and then we have this
Mhm.
baby, right? And so
Yes.
it's just funny how Spirit reminds me of that every single time we're kind of in this season for people. But it's so true. It's like there is those moments where we don't have the evidence and we just have to keep going. We're buying the maternity clothes, we're picking names, we're decorating the nursery, all of those things, and we don't quite have those evidence. Then we begin to start seeing a little bit of evidence, and then essentially we have the baby, and business kind of works the same way. And so that is something that I have really anchored into since that is like, hey, if we
Yes.
know that these are God's promises to us. Like we just have to go. And the reason that we're desiring them is not because we're just crazy and we have some wild, crazy dream. It's because it was written for us. Our desires are there because they were God's promises to us. So I love that. I'm glad that I was able to
Yes.
share that because I feel like that's really going to resonate with somebody else as well that's listening.
Yes.
Anything that you want to kind of share on that before we move on? I just really want to give you the space.
No, it really helps ground me and know that it can be that messy middle, like we were talking about, that yes, could be a little bit uncomfortable, but going back to knowing 100% that it is here for a reason and to keep going even when you don't know what the end looks like.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that. That's such a great reminder for all of us, Jen. Thank you. So I
Thank
heard a
you.
quote this week and I wanted to share it with you, Jen, and with the listeners. The quote said this, and I was driving when I heard it and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I just want to like stop so I can like replay it and not miss it." Because sometimes, the you'll get out of it or it'll go to an ad or whatever and then like you miss the message. But the quote was, "The meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away." The author is unknown, but when I was preparing for this session together with us, that I just heard it on like Tuesday of this week. And I was like, gosh, I have to share that because it's such a great reminder of that promise to us, right? It's like I mean, our meaning of life is to find our gift. We're not here to do anything else but that. And our purpose is to give it away. Like, oh, how powerful.
Oh,
And sometimes our gifts
yes.
look different. Like sometimes our gift is us being a mom, and sometimes our gift is us being a wife and good at certain things. Like people always say, like, you're so good at baking, and I love doing sourdough, and I love that gift, and I love to give it away. But there is these gifts of us doing this work as well, doing the coaching,
Yes.
doing this deeper work that we're really feeling called to do. And I love this message for you guys. So,
Oh, I love that.
yeah. So I asked these questions and shared some of these stories that came through in the channeled messages with you because very often the fear isn't about failure, even though we think that it is. It's often about what happens if we actually allow ourselves to expand out of our comfort zone, to be seen, and to actually trust ourselves and to hold the expansion long enough to create the change. So, Spirit
Mm.
always calls this the spiritual plank season. So, like, we're in this messy middle, right? And we know what we want. We're like, we know, like, we know, like, we know. And we're uncomfortable because we're like, we're doing all the things and nobody's showing up. And it's just my family and just my friends, right? We all go through that season
Yeah.
and we're holding the spiritual plank. We're like, God, you promised. We know, we're trusting. We're getting tired. Our arms are shaking. And we just have to hold it past that threshold and keep showing up and keep doing the work. Right. And then I'm reminded of
Absolutely.
that message that just came through this week for one of my clients. It was like, the only difference is they kept going and you didn't. And so we have to
Mhm.
keep going. That's
Keep
really the
going.
key. Yeah. How does that feel
Love
for
that.
you?
Yeah. Oh, so resonates. I'm going to make a sign and put it up on my desk and look at it every day. Keep going.
I love that. Yeah. Such a great reminder for all of us. In everything that we do, we have to keep going. So, Jen, based on everything that you've shared and what Spirit has come through and shared, I really truly feel like the work that you're being called in this season is deeply rooted around helping people find their true, authentic self, not by telling them who to be, but by helping them uncover what's already there. You're here to show people how to slow down, get honest with themselves, get real, and reconnect with who they actually are beneath the expectation, roles, and conditioning. And then support them with expressing that truth in their lives. That's where that voice piece comes in. That's where that throat chakra comes in. And this happens through your guys' presence together, your support together, and your lived experiences that you get to share and mentor them through.
Mm. I love that so much. It just touches my heart, makes me almost want to cry. because
Yeah,
it
I
feels so
literally am
true.
getting full body chills.
Mhm.
Good.
I love that so much. Thank you so much for that.
You,
Yeah, I so appreciate it, and it so hits on so many levels.
yeah, good. I'm so glad. So take a moment, write this down, journal it out, whatever that looks like, but just to really anchor in. It might be something that you, because you are multi-passionate, you literally put on your desk and you're like, keep going. You help people find their true and authentic self, right?
Yes,
Just
yes.
because of, being multi-passionate, which I am too, I literally have to remind myself because otherwise I'm constantly trying to like reinvent the wheel. And
Yes,
not
I know
because
what
I'm
you
doing
mean.
anything wrong or not getting success, because I am multi-passionate, right?
Yes,
So
I
I
can
think
very
that would
much
really,
resonate.
yeah, I think that would really help you.
Oh, love that. And I love how you keep going back to the word like true authentic self because it's something that I say all the time when I think of
Mhm.
like shifting how I'm, the work that I'm doing. And I always say, I want to just be my true authentic self because I'm not able to do that in what I'm currently doing. So that is so ironic that that's the word that you keep saying.
Mm. Again, it's just I got full body chills when you said that, Jen, because again, it's like we have the knowing, we already actually know, we just forget along the way. And it's so interesting how, even just your soul's purpose chart, it all ties in. It's all saying the same things about what you're here to do and what that looks like. And you've been on this journey. And often, most often, we teach on exactly what we did and the journey that we went on because we know we can
Mhm.
understand, we can guide people through it because we've been there, we've done that, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah,
So
it's hard to see sometimes, right?
it is, yeah. So your next step doesn't have to be a massive career leap, but your next step is just allowing your voice to lead something small, getting really clear in, having conversations, creating a container, a space, and then just trusting that clarity will come as you build and get into action to move forward.
I love that. That is fabulous advice for the next step.
Yeah, so I have one last question for you today.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong answer. It's not about having it all figured out. It's just about listening to your intuition and letting it kind of guide you through what we just went and talked about. So, my last question for you, Jen, is if you fully trusted your voice and allowed it to guide you in the next chapter, what do you feel like your soul's purpose is for this season of life?
I don't know if this is the right word, but to be a coach in some capacity, whether that's a life coach, I feel like it's some way to support others through their journey. So the word that I come through is coaching.
I love that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
coaching people back to their authentic self, true self, something like that.
Yes, yes.
I
Yeah,
love that.
absolutely.
I think that's beautiful. And knowing your energy and your light, I think that that is going to be really powerful work for people. So,
Mm,
Jen, I love that this feels so true for you, and there was some really big aha moments for you. It's been so powerful to have you here today. And I just want to remind you, you don't have to have it all figured out. You just simply have to honor it. You just simply have to take the action, right? And
yes.
how powerful is it that you were able to claim your soul's purpose right here, live with us today?
Thank you, Shannon, so much. It's been such an amazing experience. And I always, always love working with you and learning from you and listening to you. So I really appreciate the time and everything and having me today. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Jen, so much for joining us today on this episode of The Divine Channel. Might honestly be one of my favorites so far because I know so many women carry the same question. They feel called for more, they feel like they are meant to do more, and yet they often get stuck trying to figure out their soul's purpose and never take the action. So, what I want you all to hear in this moment is your soul's purpose gets to evolve. It gets to move through seasons with you. It's really about
Mm.
honoring who you are in this season and amplifying that truth and allowing yourself to be authentic, unique, and express your divine gifts. So, thank you so much for being here today, Jen. It was so nice to have you, and I hope you will join us again on the Divine Channel in the future.
Thank you.
If you have enjoyed this episode and something is stirring inside of you, I want to invite you to an opportunity to dive deeper into this work with me. This is the work I live, breathe, and walk alongside my clients every day. And I would love to personally invite you to connect with me. Come find me on Instagram at The Divine Channel, send me a message, and let's explore what working together could look like for you. There's no pressure, just connection, conversation, and a chance to see what is possible for you when you choose to honor your desires and trust your inner guidance. Before we close out today's episode, I want to leave you with this. If today's conversation resonated with you, if you felt seen, called out in the very best way, or reminded of something you already knew deep inside, that is your inner wisdom speaking. And if you have been sitting with the question of your own or feeling called to explore something that has been stirring in you, I invite you to write into Dear Divine Channel and ask your question, or come join me live for real live coaching. You can DM me over on Instagram at The Divine Channel and let me know you are interested in submitting a question or being featured as a guest on the show. You can choose to simply write in, or if you feel called, join me live so we can walk through your question live together. And if you're wanting to go a little deeper into discovering your own gifts, I've also linked my workshop called Your Divine Gifts. In this experience, I walk you through powerful questions designed to help you tap into and understand your own divine gifts more clearly. If this episode resonated for you, I'd love for you to like, subscribe, or share it with a friend who might need this reminder today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Shannon Marie. This is the Divine Channel, the space where we call in, tune in, and awaken the wisdom within. Until next time, trust your voice, honor your season, and stay guided.